Well, hello once again, and thanks for retuning to Classic Dirt Bike TV. And as you can see, we're back in HQ after our days of gallivanting across the countryside, filming more material for my YouTube channel. Now, we've just come back from a superb two-day charity scramble event in Northern Ireland, and I'm looking forward to showing you all the bikes and the footage from that fantastic two-day event. But until then, it's time to catch up on other projects, and we have already taken a look at some of the bikes in the paddock in this Scottish Classic Round 3 event at Lockerbie. So right now we're going to catch up with the racing action. So without any further delay, let's just jump straight into race 1. Okay, and our first race of the day is the pre-1968s up to and over 350cc class. And so as the bikes leave the line, looks like a good start by Fergus Moody. Liston Bell's also made a good start, but it looks like it's Andrew King on that HIS Stormer who has the whole shot and the early lead of this race. As we look at number 71, that's Brian Aird. Number 41 is Peter Dobinson. So as they start lap 1, it's certainly Andrew King, number 293, on the very light and nimble HIS Stormer, followed by what looks like Liston Bell. And I think Liston's riding his Tribsaw in this particular race. It looks like Lewis Bell is in there in third position. So as the riders come towards us on lap 1 of this pre-1968 class race, it looks like it's Liston Bell that's now your new race leader. Second is Lewis Bell, number 9, and Andrew King is now in third position. Fergus Moody on the BSA is back down there in fourth position. Now this of course is a brand new track for the Scottish Classic Club here at Lockerbie. It's a different track from previous years, so the layout looks absolutely perfect as our two race leaders cross the line to complete lap 1. It's Liston Bell, number 98, followed by number 9 Lewis Bell. I think Lewis is actually riding, I think that's his father's BSA Gold Star that it looks like Lewis is riding. Andrew King is still third. Fergus Moody is still fourth. But it's Liston Bell who leads his younger brother Lewis at number 9. But quite a nice layout of the track here at this Cumstone Farm in Lockerbie. Quite a fast flowing track. Quite a big lap of course as well, but it's 4 laps for these classic bikes, and I think it will be 5 laps for the pre-98 class when they take to the track. But yet again another good race here between the two battling Bell brothers. We're looking at number 122, that's Fergus Moody on his lovely BSA. Fergus is in fourth position in this first pre-1968 class race, but it looks like Lewis is trying to make a challenge for that race lead from his older brother, but it's still Liston who holds on to the pole position as they complete lap 2. But it's certainly a nice picturesque landscape here up on top of the hills overlooking the village of Lockerbie, and it's of course thanks to club members Kenny Harper and his many little elves who have been hard at work building this track for most of the week. So it's thanks to Kenny for his hard work, and of course all his other helpers who put this track together. But it's Liston Bell who still leads his younger brother Lewis in second position, but it looks like Liston has a problem with that bike. It looks like the bike has just completely died on Liston as he came up the hill there, but it looks like it's going to be a DNF for Liston in this first pre-1968 class race of the day. So here's our new race leader, number 9, Lewis Bell. So this looks like it's going to be quite an easy run to the checkered flag for number 9 Lewis Bell as he comes round to start his last and final lap of this first race of the day. So there's your race leader, number 9 Lewis Bell on the BSA Gold Star. Nice old classic British dirt bike. But the track in absolutely perfect condition at this point in the afternoon, and it's said that there was quite a lot of rain on this track during Saturday night, but it appears to have wetted it sufficiently to keep any dust at bay. But as we look at number 9, our race leader, on his way to his first win of the day, number 9 Lewis Bell on the BSA Gold Star. Second is Andrew King on the HIS Stormer machine. As we take a look at Andrew there, number 293, and you can just see Liston Bell trying to recover his bike back to the paddock after that mechanical failure. But here's your race leader coming round to take the checkered flag. It's number 9 Lewis Bell for his first win of the day on the BSA Gold Star 4-stroke machine. And just coming across the line behind Lewis is number 293 Andrew King on the HIS Stormer. Okay, that brings us around to our second race of the day, which of course is the pre-1977 in 4-strokes and also the pre-1989 Evo 125. Not a big lineup of riders for this race event, but of course this is right in the middle of holiday season here in Scotland, but nonetheless enough riders to make a race of it. But as they leave the line, it looks like it's Mike McClurty on that CR125 Honda who has taken an early lead. So we have quite a variety of different makes and models of machines in this combined class between 4 strokes, 2 strokes, and of course these little Evo 125 Screamers that Mike McClarty is running. So it's Mike McClarty, your race leader in the Evo 125 class, and in second position there that will be Sam Sibbald, who will be leading the pre-1977 class of this particular race on his TT 500 4-stroke Yamaha bike. Of course, this part of the track is the tight and twisty section of turns on this particular course, but we do have that long straight at the bottom of the track. But this is quite a tricky little bit to manoeuvre, this tight and twisty part of the track. But we are taking a look at number 17. That's Mike van der Meer, who just made his way through there. But here's your race leader. It's number 416. That's Mike McClurty on the CR125 Honda. That's Sam Sibbald just making his way through there, number 24. And unfortunately I don't know who that rider is in third position on that YZ Yamaha bike. And so as they come round to complete lap 2, we're looking at number 24. That's Sam Sibbald on the TT 500 Yamaha. Sam, of course, has been riding these old scramblers since his schoolboy days. As we take a look at number 668, I think that is on the YZ Yamaha machine, a rider that unfortunately I can't identify because I haven't as yet received any details of the rider's entry name. But nonetheless, we're looking at number 416 Mike McClurty as he makes his way through to begin another lap. Number 24 is still Sam Sibbald on the TT 500 Yamaha. Number 668 again going very well on what looks like a 400 or a 250 YZ Yamaha. And as we take a look at our race leader, number 416 Mike McClurty on the CR125 Honda. Now this is a brand new class, of course, for the Scottish Classic Club for 20 21, these Evolution 125s, as we take another look at number 24, Sam Sibbald, being chased by number 668. Number 7 on that little Suzuki, that little water-cooled Suzuki machine, but here's Mike McClurty going very well on that little 125 Honda. As you can see, spits of rain on the camera lens there, so hopefully the rain won't come to too much, although there is rain forecast for this area for later in the day, but thankfully things are good to go at this point. And we're looking again at number 668, and I do apologise for not being able to identify the rider. This could possibly be just a day entry for the Scottish Classic Club, but this rider is going very well on the Yamaha, chasing Sam Sibbald on that TT 4-stroke bike. But it's a win for Mike McClurty, and it's going to be Sam Sibbald in second position with number 668 in third. Okay, that brings us to our first race of the day for the pre-1975s up to and over 300cc. As a race starter, Stuart Riddle. That's the bike's loose from the start line. It looks like a good start by number 9, Lewis Bell on the CCM. So as they come round to start lap 1, it is indeed Lewis Bell, your race leader, on the big 500 CCM bike. Second position is Archie Baird on that Norrie Patty 3L CZ hybrid machine. As we take a look at our race leader, Lewis Bell. Now, of course, Lewis has already chalked up his first win of the day in the pre-1968 class on that BSA Gold Star, but this time he's riding his replica 1974 CCM bike. Second position there is Archie Baird. That's a lovely looking 2-stroke CZ machine. It's some nice trick parts on that bike of Archie Baird's. Third place looks like it's Ian Stainton. Number 20 just going through there is Stuart Rodin. And just making his way round is number 22. I think that's Darryl Wiley on the 4-stroke Honda. Number 109 just going through on the Husqvarna is Colin Nelson. But quite a tricky part of the track, this adverse camber and then the squirt up the hill. But it's still this man here, Lewis Bell, riding that 1974 replica CCM bike. Of course, this is not a fully original bike from back in the day, but these bikes are now being manufactured by Joe Maxwell Engineering, and almost identical in every respect to the original bikes, but you can't beat an original copy of a CCM. And we're looking at number 125. That's Ian Stainton. Now, Ian Stainton's also riding a CCM bike, and this, of course, is a Clues Stroker machine. Now, these were the first bikes that Alan Clues ever put together before he even registered the name CCM. As we take a look at number 20, Stuart Rodin. Stuart's also riding a CCM, and I think that's Craig Dixon just behind Stuart there on the CZ bike. As we take a look at number 49, that's that quite nice looking CZ that we had a look at in the paddock, but it looks like the rider's having trouble finding the gearbox on that little CZ machine, but he's got going once again. But it's still number 9, Lewis Bell, seems to be out there on his own, unchallenged, so it looks like this could be another easy run to the checkered flag for this man here, number 9. So we're looking at number 9, Lewis Bell once again. It looks like Lewis is just strolling here to the checkered flag. Yes, he's even got time to undo his jacket. He'll maybe have a cup of tea or coffee as he's making his way around, but he looks very relaxed on that number 9 CCM machine. Number 180 there is Archie Baird on the CZ. Now this bike of course doesn't have a CZ frame. This is a bespoke, very special Harry Stitt made frame with the CZ motor in the chassis. Number 125 just going through there is Ian Stainton. Number 20 there is Stuart Roden on the CCM bike as he crosses the line to begin another lap. Number 29 there is Derek Macaulay on the 250 Spanish Bultaco Pursang. And number 109 is Colin Nelson on the 250 Husqvarna. But it's still this young man here, number 9, Lewis Bell, who has an absolutely massive lead over the second placed rider. And as I said before, I think Lewis could quite easily stop for a coffee before he finishes this race, but nevertheless he's cruising to his possible second win of the day. So that's number 9, Lewis Bell on the CCM. As we take a look once again at number 180, Archie Baird just making his way through in second position. In third is number 125, Ian Stainton, riding that replica Clues Stroker machine. Lovely looking bikes these, and of course, as I said, the first bikes that Alan Clues ever built before he named them CCMs. So as the riders make their way across the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be a win for number 9 Lewis Bell, with Archie Baird in second and Ian Stainton in third. Looks like a rider's got a little problem with his Honda there, but getting a bit of assistance to push it back to the paddock. Okay, time for our first race of the day for the big bikes in the pre-1984 class, or twin shock class as this formula used to be known back in the day, but quite a good lineup of pre-84 bikes as our starter Stuart Riddle lets the riders loose from the line. But it looks like a good start there by Mark Kenny on that big C&J 4-stroke Honda. But as they make their way round, it's John Stokes at number 151 on the 490 Michael, who is your race leader. In second position looks like it's number 71. That's John Crawford riding that big hybrid twin shock Honda machine. It looks like John Crawford's going down the inside and taking the early lead of this race, but John Stokes is having another go and trying to go round the outside, but two very quick riders, John Crawford and John Stokes, but it looks like it's John Crawford with the early lead as they come round to complete lap 1. Now I think it's 5 laps for the pre-1984 class. So as they head up the hill, it's John Crawford in first position, second John Stokes, third it looks like it's Kenny Hope, but it looks like Mark Kenny's dropped his C&J 4-stroke Honda, but I think he's managed to keep the bike running, so hopefully won't lose too many places. Number 47 just making his way up the hill there is Steve Moore on the Michael. John Porteous just going through on his big Curtis 4-stroke, and number 147, that's John Frew, who's riding that CZ engine in the Michael frame. But this is a good battle here between John Stokes, and it looks like it's number 68, that's Kenny Hope, who's now taken the lead of this race. I think Kenny's riding Glenn Wilson's 480 Honda machine. So as they come round to complete lap 2, it looks like it's Kenny Hope, your race leader, from number 151, John Stokes, in second place. Now Kenny Hope here, number 68, of course a well-known motocross name from back in the day, and as you can see still very quick on these twin shock machines, but we're looking at number 151, John Stokes, in second position. John from Shots, of course, as they make their way up the hill. Third position there looks like it's number 75. That's David Loudon on the YZ 490 Yamaha. There's Mark Kenny. Looks like Mark Kenny's got his bike up and running again, and looks like he's currently in about 4th position. Andy Malik just making his way through on the Montesa 414 Capra. But it looks like John Crawford's had some kind of off-track excursion, or maybe a spill, because he's down there in the middle of the pack once again when he was up running at the front. Number 147 is John through once again on that hybrid CZ Michael. So as we look to the far side of the track, you can see it's number 68 Kenny Hope, who has already opened up quite a substantial lead over second place man John Stokes, number 151. But Kenny appears to be enjoying himself on that big 480, or it could possibly even be a 500 Honda, but looks like Kenny's certainly getting to grips with this racetrack. And this, of course, is round 3 for the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club here at Lockerbie. We have another 2 rounds left to go in the 2021 Championship. We'll be back here again at Lockerbie in September, and of course their final race event of the year will be at Whitekirk in October. So quite a short racing season for the Scottish Classic Club this year, as they never really got started until about June, so quite a short racing season for them this year. As we look at number 71, John Crawford. Now that's John Porteous there, number 35 on his big Curtis 500 4-stroke Honda. Quite an original bike, this machine of John's, and a lovely sounding machine when this thing goes flying by in top gear. Now the weather, as you can see here at Lockerbie, is quite dull and overcast. That was probably due to the forecast for rain later in the day, but as it stands at the moment, thankfully not too much rain to talk about. The track in perfect condition as we look at number 68 Kenny Hope on the big 480 or 500cc Honda. Second place is still number 151 there, John Stokes on the 490 Michael. Number 50 is another rider I'm unable to identify. Number 71 is John Crawford once again. Looks like John's up to about 4th position now. So we're back with our race leader, number 68, Kenny Hope, as he starts his last and final lap of this first pre-1984 class race of the day. Looks like Kenny's very comfortable out there in front, and looks like he's already got this race in the bag. So it's still Kenny Hope, your race leader, from second place man John Stokes. Looks like there's plenty grip out there for those big bikes. So this has been quite a good ride by Kenny Hope for his first race of the day. And so as the riders make their way across the checkered flag, it's a win for number 68 Kenny Hope. Second will be John Stokes, number 151 there in second position. It looks like it's going to be number 75 David Loudon, who's going to take that third place finish on his 490 Yamaha. And okay, that brings us quite nicely to the second race of the day for the pre-1968 up to and over 350cc class. Looks like a good start by Andrew King in this particular race. Fergus Moody is in second position. We're looking at number 71 there. That's Brian Aird riding his BSA machine. But as they begin lap 1, it's number 293 Andrew King on the HIS Stormer. A very light and very nimble little bikes, these HIS Stormers, as you can see. Second place is still Fergus Moody there on the BSA. Now the rider in red in second position there, I think that's Liston Bell, and it looks like Liston has got a replacement bike for his machine that broke down in the first race of the day, but Liston looks like he's doing well there in its second position. Andrew King just ahead of him there on the HIS Stormer machine. Well, it looks like Liston is going to outpower Andrew on that big bike. I think Liston could be riding the Gold Star this time round, but it's certainly a bit of a nightmare for me personally trying to keep up with the Bell family and their constant changes of race machines. But it looks like this time round Liston has borrowed the bike that Lewis was riding early on, and I think this is Liston's father's Mike's big BSA Gold Star that Liston is currently riding. So it's Liston Bell, your race leader, from number 293, Andrew King on the HIS Stormer. But I think Andrew's little Stormer will be certainly out horsepowered by that big 500 single of Liston's 4-stroke Gold Star. So Liston doing quite well in this particular race. Of course, he'll be trying to make up for his DNF in his first race of the day when his bike had mechanical troubles, but looks like Liston's doing quite well in this particular race on the BSA Gold Star. So it's Liston Bell, your race leader. Second is still Andrew King on the HIS Stormer. Now, as I said, we will return to this racetrack in September, so if you have an old classic dirt bike that you think you'd like to give it a run out, and why not just contact the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club and put an entry in for round 4 when we revisit this Lockerbie track in September. Now we're looking at Andrew Johnston on his lovely old Dot, a fully original old bike, that machine of Andrew's. So thankfully the weather still almost perfect for this kind of classic racing. A bit dull and overcast, but nonetheless still pretty good for racing. And it's still Liston Bell who is your race leader. Andrew King still managing to stick with that bigger and heavier engined BSA Gold Star of Liston Bells, but as both riders come round to cross the line to start their last and final lap of this pre-1968 class race, it's Liston Bell who leads this young man here, number 293, Andrew King, on the HIS Stormer 2-stroke. And of course, if you need any details about how to enter the racing here with the Scottish Classic Club, or indeed any of their dates or other kind of information, then just log on to their website at classicscrambles.com. So we're looking at Liston Bell on the BSA Gold Star. It looks like Mike is not racing this particular bike today. I think Mike was doing a bit of marshalling on the day, so that's probably the reason that Liston and Lewis are managing to get a hold of Mike's BSA Gold Star here, so the boys can rattle it and break every single part on it. And so as our race leader comes up to take the checkered flag, it's going to be a win this time for number 9 or 98, Liston Bell on the BSA Gold Star. Okay, next up, our second race of the day for the pre-77s, 4-strokes and pre-1989 Evo 125s. Certainly not a big lineup of riders for this race, but nonetheless, as they leave the line, it looks like Mike McClurty once again on the CR125 Honda, who's your race leader. Second is Sam Sibbald on the TT500 4-stroke Yamaha. So we're looking at Mike McClurty on the CR125 Honda. Second, Sam Sibbald. These little 125s are perfectly suited for this part of the track, this tight and twisty, squirty part of the track, but they may get out horsepowered on the long straights, but certainly perfect for these tight and twisty parts of the course. Now we're looking at number 24, Sam Sibbald, a very experienced scrambles racer. I can remember Sam when he used to race the old BSA Bantam machines away back in the day, but it's good to see that he's still putting his hand in and racing these old motocross race bikes. Now of course this is, as I said, a brand new class for 2021, this pre-1989 Evo 125 class. At this particular point, not too many 125s joined to race in this formula, but of course this will all be discussed at the AGM at the end of the racing season. So we're looking at Sam Sibbald, number 24 in second position, and I think that's that number 366, I think it is, on the YZ Yamaha. I do apologise for not being able to say the rider's name, but I don't have any details of his identification, but doing very well on that YZ Yamaha. Number 7, another rider that could possibly be a day entry here for this Lockerbie event on the little 125 RM Suzuki. But it's still number 416, Mike McClurty, on the little Buzz Bomb CR125 Honda. And Mike has been racing this machine with the Scottish Classic Club ever since the Formula introduction at our first round of the year at Straven. And Mike appears to enjoy racing this little bike with the Scottish Classic Club. Number 7 once again on the Suzuki RM125, but if you have one of these old pre-1989 Evo 125 bikes and you think you could have a go with the Scottish Classic Club, then log on to their website for all the details of how to put in an entry. And so as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be his second race win of the day for number 416, Mike McClurty, going very well in his little 125 Honda. So it's a win for number 416. Second is number, I think that's 668, I think, on the YZ Yamaha in second place. And at number 24, Sam Sibbald will be the winner of the pre-1977 class. So that brings us to our second race for the pre-1975 class. As they leave the line, it looks like a good start by Archie Baird on the 3L Racing Hybrid CZ machine. Looks like Derek McCauley's also made a good start on the Bull Tackle. Lewis Bell is back out there again on his CCM machine. So as they head to the bottom side of the track, it's number 9 once again, Lewis Bell, your race leader. So Lewis has done very well to get to the front of this pack even before half a lapse has gone by, because he was about mid-pack off the line. So Lewis has certainly shot to the front of the pack. Second place is Ian Stainton on the Clue Stroker. Third is Archie Baird. Fourth, just behind Archie Baird there, is Derek McCauley on that rapid Spanish 250 Bull Tackle. As we take a look at number 20, Stuart Roden, and I think Stuart's riding his John Banks CCM bike. This is an original John Banks machine, this bike of Stuart's. Looks like someone's got stuck on a hill. Looks like Derek McCauley's got problems with his little 250 bull tackle. Number 43 is Andy Malik on his 360 CZ bike. If you remember, Andy was racing his Montesa Capra in one of the previous races, but it's number 9, Lewis Bell, who's out there in front on his replica CCM bike. But if these are the kind of bikes and the kind of racing you enjoy watching here on YouTube, then please consider subscribing to my channel, because I have some fantastic race bikes coming up, and of course some more classic racing from that Northern Ireland 2-day event. That's all coming up here on my channel very soon, so if you don't want to miss out on some fantastic looking machines and some good classic racing from Northern Ireland, then please hit that subscribe button. So we're looking at number 20, Stuart Roden on the John Banks CCM machine. Now Stuart has quite a nice collection of these old CCM bikes, and he also raced these machines away back in the day and was a personal friend of the late Alan Clues, but Stuart absolutely loves riding these big British made 4-stroke CCM bikes. And as you can see, these big 4-stroke British made machines are ideally suited to these kind of sticky track conditions, as we take a look at Lewis Bell on his CCM bike, absolutely flying around this Cumstone Farm racetrack here at Lockerbie. But this looks like it's been another good ride by Lewis, and we're taking a look at the battle for second position between Ian Stainton and Archie Baird. Now Ian Stainton, as I mentioned, is riding a Clues Stroker machine. Archie Baird on that Nori Patty 3L CZ bike with all those fancy trick parts fitted onto it, but it looks like Ian Stainton has got the advantage of Archie at this particular point in the track, so it's the British made BSA derived Clues Stroker who leads the very tricked up CZ bike of Archie Baird. So as a race leader begins his last and final lap, it's still Lewis Bell, as you can see, with a very substantial lead over second place man. It's Ian Stainton there in front on the Clues Stroker, with Archie Baird in third, and just ahead of Ian, of course, is Derek McCauley, but Derek McCauley, of course, has had that problem with his bull tackle, so he is not, of course, in second position. But this has been another good ride by Ian Stainton and Archie Baird. So as they make their way around, it looks like Derek McCauley's pulling to one side to let the faster riders through, so it's still Lewis Bell, your race leader, from this man here, Ian Stainton, in second position, with Archie Baird in third. So as they come towards us, Lewis Bell has already crossed the finish line for his win, so we're looking at second place man Ian Stainton making his way through to take that second position, with Archie Baird crossing the line in third. So that brings us to the second race for the pre-1984 class, and as you can see, the weather getting duller by the minute, so it looks like we could see a shower of rain any time. So as the riders leave the line, it looks like Mark Kenny's made a blinder of a start on that big C&J 4-stroke 500 Honda, as the rest of the riders make their way around to begin lap 1. So we're looking to the far side of the track to pick up our race leader. It's number 68, that's Kenny Hope, on the big 480 or 500 Honda. Second place man there is number 121, that's Mark Kenny, on that beautiful sounding 500 C&J 4-stroke Honda with those twin pipes at the rear, but a very fast machine, this bike of Mark Kenny. So he's giving Kenny Hope a good race for his money on lap 1. Third position there is John Stokes. It looks like David Loudon is in fourth on his YZ490 Yamaha. Andy Malik just going through there on his Montesa 414 Capra. Number 30 there, that's Ronnie Craig on the 490 Michael. But it doesn't look like anybody's going to be quick enough to catch Kenny Hope today. He's absolutely flying around the track on that Glenn Wilson Honda machine. Second is still Mark Kenny. Kenny, of course, Kenny Hope, a famous rider and racer from years gone by, but as you can see, he's still extremely quick on these kind of twin shock race machines. Now this is race 2, of course, of 3 races for the pre-1984 class before the lunch break, so these guys will have another race yet to go. As we take a look at number 151, John Stokes, David Loudon just behind him there. It looks like John Crawford's not made such a great start this time round, and he's quite well down the pack at this point. But some of the riders just negotiating that quite tricky turn and then the squirt up the hill. As we look at number 35, that's John Porteous on his Curtis Honda, being chased by number 147 John Frew on that CZ Michael. So we're looking at second place man, number 121, that's Mark Kenny on the C&J 4-stroke 500 Honda. Now this is a bike that Mark built last year, and he was telling me it's very much a work in progress type of machine, because he's constantly changing things on this bike to make it go faster and handle better, but he said he's quite happy with the way the engine runs, but most of the adjustments he's making are to the bike's suspension. But it's a very quick machine and sounds absolutely superb when it goes flying by. So we're looking at John Frew there. John, of course, is riding that Michael framed CZ bike. It's a Michael frame with a CZ motor inside. A weird combination, but John appears to think it works very well. Of course, the Michael enthusiasts won't take too kindly to that type of hybrid, but each to their own, I say. So we're looking at our race leader, number 68, Kenny Hope, who's still in charge of the second pre-1984 class race of the day. So Kenny's looking good for his second win. And as I said, this bike belongs to Glenn Wilson, but Kenny's borrowed it for the day to have a blast around this Cumstone Farm racetrack. Number 50 on the 490 Michael just making his way through there, but Kenny Hope starting his last and final lap of this second pre-1984 class race of the day. It doesn't look like Mark Kenny's going to be close enough to make any sort of a challenge, so it looks like it could be win number 2 for Kenny Hope. So this has been another excellent ride by Kenny. As I said, I'm not sure if this is a 480 or a 500, but it certainly looks like a 480, possibly from 1983, but don't quote me on that particular fact. So as he comes to take the checkered flag, it's the second win of the day for number 68, Kenny Hope. And it looks like in second position it's going to be Mark Kenny on the 4-stroke Honda. Okay, that brings us to the final race for the pre-1968s up to and over 350cc. A good start again by Andrew King on the HIS Stormer. Liston Bell there in the red jacket. This time I think Liston's out on his Tribsaw this time round. So as they begin lap 1, looks like it's Lewis Bell, your race leader. Second is Liston Bell. Third is Fergus Moody. Fourth is Andrew King. I think Peter Dobinson is in fifth position there on the lovely sounding Cotton Triumph. So once again it's the younger of the Bell brothers, Lewis Bell, number 9, who is your race leader. I think Lewis has already chalked up 2 wins thus far today, but looking good in this final pre-1968 class race with Liston in second position. So both these guys are on lap 2 of a 4-lap race. Now obviously we don't show you every single lap and every single turn of these races. These are just basically the highlights, just to keep the video file down to a manageable size. But it's number 9 Lewis Bell in first position. Second it's 98 Liston Bell. As I mentioned, I think Liston's riding his Tribsaw at this point, but very difficult to keep up with the Bell brothers with all the many different machines that they ride over the course of a day. There's your third place man there, number 122 Fergus Moody on the BSA bike. So looking to the far side of the track, we're picking up our race leader. It's still Lewis Bell, who leads his older brother Liston. Looks like Lewis is still riding Dad's BSA Gold Star, so hopefully Lewis won't break too many parts on his Dad's machine. Second is number 98 Liston Bell. So not much between these two riders as they head to cross the line to complete another lap. There's your third placed rider, Fergus Moody on the BSA machine. Very quick rider Fergus, been racing with the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club for many years now. We're taking a look at 4th and 5th place. That's number 71 is Brian Aird, and just going down the inside is number 41, that's Peter Dobinson on that lovely sounding Cotton Triumph. So it's still the battle for first place between Lewis Bell and his brother Liston, but it's still Lewis Bell as they head towards the finish line to start their last and final lap of this race. But not much between these two battling brothers, the two Bell boys of Lewis and Liston. So as they come towards the finish line to start their last and final lap, it's a slight advantage to Lewis Bell. We're looking at the battle for 4th and 5th positions between number 71 Brian Aird and number 41 just behind him there, Peter Dobinson on the the Cotton Triumph. So it looks like it's a win for Lewis Bell with Liston Bell in second position. Now I think Andrew King is going to cross the line in third there, and here's the battle for, I think this is for 4th and 5th between Brian Aird, number 71, and Peter Dobinson, but it looks like Peter Dobinson is going to take that track position as they come round to take the checkered flag. And so that brings us to the final race for the pre-77s 4-strokes and the 1989 Evo 125s. Looks like another good start by Mike McClurty, who's already got 2 wins under his belt today so far. So it looks like Mike has an early lead over the other rider on the YZ Yamaha machine. Number 24 there is Sam Sibbald. So So we're looking at number 24, Sam Sibbald. He could be well on his way to a class win overall if he keeps this track positioned, courtesy of course of the fact that he's already got 2 wins under his belt in his particular class. But we're looking at the battle for first and second between the pre-1989 Evo 125 bikes of Mike McClurty on the CR125 Honda and the unnamed rider who is riding that YZ Yamaha machine. So here is Mike McClurty, who has already got 2 wins today, looking good for a possible clean sweep here as he comes round. But very talented rider as well, that rider on the YZ Yamaha. Sam Sibbald just making his way up the hill to complete another lap. Number 14 there is Brian Hamilton, and Brian looks like he's riding some kind of hybrid machine with a 4-stroke Yamaha engine in the frame. But it's a lovely part of the world here at this border country of Lockerbie and the Scottish borders. Of course, the town of Lockerbie is much more infamous for that dreaded Pan Am Flight 103 that tragically landed on top of the town. I think it was in December of 1988. But we're looking at our second placed positioned rider on that YZ Yamaha machine, as we take a look at our race leader, Mike McClurty, number 416. Now, as I said earlier, we could do with a few more of these pre-1989 Evo 125 bikes taking part in this class at the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club. But if you think you have a bike that may be suitable to take part in this class, then just log on to the classicscrambles.com website for all the details. So as he comes round to complete his last and final lap of this race, it looks like it's going to be the third win of the day for number 416, Mike McClurty. So a clean sweep of wins in the Evo 125 class, and I think this man here, number 24, Sam Sibbald, will also take the overall win in the pre-1977 class. Okay, next up we have the final race for the pre-1975 class. Thankfully no rain as yet on the track, but track still in excellent condition. But a good start by Stuart Roden this time on the CCM. Looks like Lewis Bell is also out in this race again with his CCM bike. Archie Baird has also made a good start on that Nori Patty 3L CZ. But it looks like this part of the race programme is certainly turning into the Lewis Bell show. Lewis seems to have won every race that he's taken part in so far on the day. But it's Lewis Bell first. I think it's second Stuart Roden, with I think it's Ian Stainton in third. But it looks like Ian Stainton has passed Stuart Roden. Somebody's just went down in the corner there. It looks like Derek McCauley has went down in the corner on his little Spanish 250 Bull Taco. As we take a look at number 43, that was Andy Mallock. So as they come to cross the line for lap 1, it's number 9, Lewis Bell on the replica 1975 or 74 CCM bike. This bike of Lewis is not a fully original bike, but certainly similar to the originals from that year. Now these CCM bikes, of course, made famous by the late Alan Clues, who started up Clues competition machines in 1973, and he took a basic BSA B50 single cylinder 4-stroke motor and worked his magic with regards tuning to get more power out of this big B50 engine, and of course he put them in a custom made chassis and turned them into a fantastic old British racing classic. So we're taking a look at number 20, that's Stuart Roden, and I think Stuart Roden's riding that John Banks machine. Now this is not an original John Banks machine from back in the days, but it is a John Banks bike, but Stuart has taken some of the original John Banks parts off this bike so he can race it at Classic Scrambles event, but Stuart has all the original parts for this John Banks machine still in his workshop. So we're looking at number 9, Lewis Bell. He's already got a very commanding lead in this final pre-1975 class race of the day. So barring any mechanical issues, it looks like Lewis is going to secure the overall win in this class. Now these racing conditions here at Cumstone Farm ideally suited to these big 4-stroke thumpers, 3-speed gearbox of course, but once you get these things on the move you don't need any brakes, you just open and close the throttle just as if you were riding an automatic, because the torque that these big 4-stroke singles produce, when you close the throttle they almost act as a set of brakes. But we're looking at a battle here between number 20 Stuart Roden and number 180, I think that's Archie Baird. So it's the British made CCM versus the Czechoslovakian engined 180 CZ bike of Archie Baird, but Stuart Roden still managing to keep that bike in third position. Second position of course is still Ian Stainton, but it looks like Archie Baird has now made the move and passed Stuart Roden for that third place position. So as it stands on this last and final pre-1975 class race of the day, it's this man here at number 9, Lewis Bell, who is your race leader as he comes towards the checkered flag to take yet another win, and it's going to be second position to Ian Stainton, with Archie Baird in third and Stuart Roden in fourth. Okay, that brings us to the final race for the pre-1984 class as they head off on their final race of the race programme. Oh, looks like number 50 has gone down there on the 490 Michael, but appears to be okay. Now in fact this was the actual final race of the entire day, because once this race was completed we had the lunch break, and during the lunch break the heavens and the forecasted rain that was forecast came down, and it was absolutely monsoon conditions and totally flooded the paddock. So the decision was made by the committee to curtail the second part of the race event. So this ended up being the last and final race of our round 3 event here at Lockerbie. So in first position here it looks like it could be John Stokes, number 151. Second is Mark Kenny on the big 4-stroke Honda as he now takes the lead. But let's just take a second and have a listen to the sound of this big 4-stroke engine. It's a lovely sounding machine, that 4-stroke Honda of Mark Kenny's, but it looks like Mark's been challenged now by number 68, that's Kenny Hope on the big 480 Honda machine. That bike belongs, of course, to Glenn Wilson, so a good battle here between these two riders. The big two-stroke of Kenny Hope and that massive four-stroke Honda bike of Mark Kenny's, but it looks like Mark has got the advantage once again. A very tight and twisty part of the racetrack here, but it's still Mark Kenny with the advantage over number 68 Kenny Hope. So it's the big four-stroke versus the Honda two-stroke of Kenny Hope. Number 47 there, that's Steve Moore riding his 490 Michael. And of course, as I said, if you'd like to take part in our round 4 event here at Lockerbie, then just log on to the classicscrambles.com website and you'll have all the details with regard entry forms and directions to the track. But we're looking at number 68 Kenny Hope. Looks like Kenny's now got the advantage of Mark Kenny. In fact, I think Mark's dropped back ever so slightly. It's now John Crawford here, number 71, who is in second position. So John Crawford must have had a really bad start at the beginning of this race, but he seems to have come through the pack and he's certainly on the chase after Kenny Hope on his big Honda. But this machine of John Crawford's, of course, is a hybrid twin shock machine, a modern Honda water-cooled bottom end with the air-cooled barrel and cylinder head. But we're looking at Mark Kenny in third position on the big 500 four-stroke Honda. Number 151 is John Stokes. And number 133 is another rider, unfortunately, that I can't identify, but it was a bit of a shame on the day that this became the last and final race of the day, when there should have been another block of 3 races after the break. But when the monsoon rains came during that lunch break, it absolutely flooded the track and the paddock in a space of about 15 or 20 minutes, and it was just far too dangerous to continue racing. So we're looking at number 71, that's John Crawford on that hybrid Honda. Quite a popular upgrade on these Hondas these days, with using the modern water-cooled bottom end of a later Honda motor and then putting the air-cooled barrel and cylinder head on top to have a hybrid twin shocker. We're looking at number 151, John Stokes. I think John's currently in about third position. And so as we come to the closing stages of this final race, we're looking at number 293, that's Andrew King. Now that's a Husq Varna frame with an HIS Stormer motor in the chassis, and we'll be taking a closer look at that bike in a future video here on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel. But I do hope you've enjoyed all the racing from this round 3 event here at Lockerbie, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more bikes and of course racing action from the 2-day charity scramble event at Craigantlet in Ballysalla Road in Northern Ireland. But as they come towards the checkered flag, it's going to be a win for number 68, that's Kenny Hope, and it looks like number 71, John Crawford, is going to finish in second. Well, I hope you enjoyed all the racing action from that Scottish Classic Round 3 event from Lockerbie. Now, coming up in my next video posting, we will be showing you all the bikes and of course every race from that 2-day charity scramble event that was held at Craigantlet in Ballysalla Road in Northern Ireland. So if you've not already subscribed to my channel, then I suggest that you do that very small thing in order that you don't miss out on some of the great racing and of course the fantastic bikes that we filmed over there in Northern Ireland. But once again, thanks for retuning to my channel, and we'll all get together again very soon when we talk about more vintage iron right here on your favourite Classic Dirt Bike TV channel.